Hi everybody, it's Vicki from Minerva and welcome to our Fabric Masterclass series. So this series is designed to complement the Minerva Fabric Guide, which is the ultimate reference guide to learn all about fabrics, specifically for dressmaking. So the guide covers everything from understanding the fundamental properties of fabric, through to different fibres, through to what they are suited to making. And in the last section of the guide, we cover 70 of the most popular base cloths that are used in dressmaking, and each of them even come with a physical fabric swatch as well for hands-on learning. So if you are interested in purchasing a copy of the Minerva Fabric Guide, if you'd love to learn all about fabrics and get confident with fabric choices for your dressmaking projects, then we do have them in stock at Minerva now, and we can ship them out worldwide. So wherever you're watching us from, we can send this out to you. So in this masterclass video series, so myself and Jo, who you will probably know from the channel, we have filmed 2 videos to accompany each of the 70 base cloths in the fabric guide. And so we're going to work through the guide alphabetically as we progress through the masterclass series. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Chambray fabrics. So we're going to take a look at some fabrics from the range that we have here at Minerva, and look at the differences between them, the different fibre contents, and hopefully just give you a good idea of the different types of chambray available. And then I've also got a lovely stack of pattern suggestions to give you lots of ideas and inspiration and specific pattern ideas that you could use to sew with chambray fabric. And then Jo's video, which is coming to the channel later today, that will guide you through on how to sew with chambray, with lots of hints and tips, as Jo's videos always contain. And she'll also be sharing lots of community maker inspiration from the Minerva website as well, just to give you, even more ideas on what you can sew with this wonderful base cloth. So let's get stuck in. So in the fabric guide itself, like I say, in the last section of the guide, we cover 70 base cloths, and each base cloth has a 2-page spread, and this is the one on chambray. So let me get a sample held out for you of one of our chambray fabrics here at Minerva, so we can just see the fabric, as I'm chatting about it. So chambray fabric is a woven fabric. We would class this definitely as an easy fabric to sew. It's generally most often made from cotton, 100% or a blend with other fibres, perhaps linen or polyester, for example. But because often it's made from cotton, that means it's a nice stable fabric and therefore nice and easy to sew with. Occasionally you can find chambrays that are woven with elastane or spandex lycra that give added stretch and recovery to the fabric, but more often than not these will be a non-stretch woven fabric that you will see. So the characteristics of chambray, so it is a kindred spirit to denim. They often get sort of mixed up really between the two, but chambray is a plain weave fabric, like I said, typically made from 100% cotton, and the plain weave has a coloured yarn in the warp and a white yarn in the weft. So the weft works left, and the warp thread is the other way. Now it has a lovely soft texture because of that plain weave, and that makes it perfect for, it's perfect sort of fabric for sewing spring and summertime projects, I think, because it's often a lighter weight than a denim fabric. You can get lighter weight denims, but more often than not, denim is heavier than chambray. So, it's a nice fabric for keeping you, cool in the heat and the humidity. And yeah, it's very often a popular fabric for sewing for spring and summer projects, but there's nothing to stop you sewing with this all year round as well. So although it does look similar to denim, especially in the colourways, that have this sort of typical blue colour, chambray is lighter and it is woven differently. So it is a different type of fabric, albeit, you know, it often looks very similar to denim. And with chambray, it looks like a shot fabric. And what we mean by that is that it has this almost like two-tone effect. And that's what's created by that warp thread and the weft thread being in a colour and a white. So you often get this almost like a tweedy kind of look, not tweed, but you know, this variegated sort of almost you know, colour. And often as well, you know, because a colour is woven with white, it often results in a lighter fabric. So for example, if you put a red thread together with a white, often that can make it look like a light red or almost like a raspberry pinky colour. If you put a black thread with white, it often results in like a grey colour fabric. It's almost like dyeing, you know, if you or mixing paint colours. You know, that you could in a fabric you can see the white and the coloured threads up close, but when you from a distance and you can't see that detail, you just see an overall lighter colour because of that white thread that's in the weave. So in the fabric guide, we do also talk about the fabric's weight, opacity, drape, stretch, the washing instructions, you know, sewing tips, recommended needle, all that sort of thing as well. But we also talk about what you can make with chambray, and that's what my video today really is focused on. So chambray is ideal for, like I say, casual kind of spring and summer clothing. Think things like tops, shirts, shorts, dresses, skirts, even things like summery trousers and jumpsuits. Really any kind of sewing pattern that requires a light to medium weight woven fabric that has some structure and body. You know, it doesn't require something that's really soft and drapey. So most patterns like that, you know, will be absolutely lovely for chambray, and it is a very versatile fabric. So let's take a look at the fabric samples I've picked out from the range at Minerva. Now we've loads of chambrays on site, and in your fabric guide you do have your QR code where you can scan to go straight through to that category on our website, so it's, you know, really easy to find. But I've picked out some of our core ranges and a print as well, and you know, it's just to give you an idea of the different types that we have here at Minerva, you know, just kind of what the variety is within the range. But like I said, there's loads more actually on the website. So this first one I've got up is a very classic, typical kind of chambray. I think most people that, you know what chambray is and have felt it and sewn it before, you know, will think of this type of fabric. So this one is our Minerva Core range cotton chambray fabric. It's 100% cotton. It's 150 centimetres or 59 inches wide approximately. And this is 130 GSM, so that's grams per square metre. And that puts it in our light to medium weight category here at Minerva. And you'll find that most chambrays fit into the light to medium weight. You know, you might find the odd one that's very light that falls into lightweight, or one that's a little bit heavier that falls into medium weight, but they are quite uncommon. You know, in most cases, chambray will fall into the light to medium weight, somewhere within that bracket. So obviously the really sort of close-up detail of this is going to be a little bit hard to get across on screen, but if you do have a look at the photos on the Minerva website, we do have lots of close-up shots of these, and you can really see that the way it's woven with that the two different colour, well, the colour and the white thread in the weave, just how it gives chambray its unique, absolutely glorious, I think, texture and just appearance. It's such a lovely fabric. This one being 100% cotton, you know, it has a gorgeous handle and feel to it, and yeah, I mean, hopefully you can see when I sort of move that round, it's just lovely. It's such a lovely fabric, and the fact that it's easy to sew, I think, is a bonus as well. Now the next one I've got, this is one of our more value fabrics on the site, so it's a fantastic price point. So this one again is a Minerva Core range. This one actually comes in two colourways. So this is the lighter blue, and then we also have a slightly darker blue as well. And this is our Minerva Core range polycotton chambray. So this one is actually made from a blend of 80% polyester and 20% cotton. It is 144 centimetres or 56 inches wide approximately, and it's 115 GSM, which again puts it in our light to medium weight category, but it's a little bit lighter than the last version we looked at. Now this one has, it's a blend of polyester and cotton, which is what's different to the last fabric. It has less of an obvious two colourway weave, but still has that gorgeous kind of texture and look of chambray. And I think really, the main difference with this one is the polyester will certainly add durability to this fabric. I appreciate polyester fibres are definitely not for everyone, and if that's you, then we've got lots of 100% natural fibre options for you. But if, say, you were making this for maybe like a children's garment, or just something that is going to get lots and lots of washing and wear, then the polycotton option could be a really fantastic, more durable option for you. And as well, the price point, makes it a very accessibly priced fabric for lots of people. Maybe it's your first chambray sewing project and you don't want to, you want to just keep in mind a budget with it, then this could be a really lovely option. And the quality for the price is absolutely amazing on that fabric. Next up, now this is one of my personal favourites. This comes in 4 different colourways and another Minerva core range, and this is our washed cotton chambray. So this one is, again, this is 100% cotton. So you might think, well, what's the difference between this and the first one? First of all, that it comes in different colours. So there's 3 different shades of blue, and this sort of, well, it's described as black, but it's, like I said before, it's black woven with white, so it definitely makes it more of a grey colour. So this one is 145 centimetres or 57 inches approximately wide, and it's 125 GSM light to medium weight. So very, very similar to the first fabric I showed you. But what's different with this one is that it has had another layer of treatment applied to the fabric, which is what that washed means in the title. So it gives it a really fabulous softness. It's beautifully soft, this fabric, which makes it, that the handle of it is softer. I wouldn't describe it as a drapey fabric by any means, but compared to the first one, it has a little bit more drape to it because of that softness. You can really see that chambray weave with the white thread and the colour, which is really, really lovely. And we do often get asked at Minerva, if a fabric says it's washed, does that mean I don't need to pre-wash it? And no, it doesn't. You should still pre-wash your fabric. I think pre-washing is always it's a good habit to get into anyway, just because, it freshens your fabric, and whichever way you choose to wash and dry the fabric, will mean that you're absolutely 100% confident then that once you've made up the garment, you're absolutely fine to then, to wash it and dry it in the same manner going forward. And yeah, when a fabric says it's washed, it's more about this treatment to give it this tumbled softness kind of handle, more so than it being pre-washed. So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, it's a really lovely fabric, this one. I think I just particularly really love the softness of it, and I love that kind of almost like stonewash kind of finish that it gives it. Really, really nice. And I think the grey come black colourway is yeah, just a little bit different, and yeah, very, very kind of classic, very wearable kind of colour, that one. But the blues are lovely in it as well. Excuse me. Now the next 2 fabrics I've got, so these are a little bit different. Now everything we've looked at so far has been very kind of traditional or typical chambray, in those blues and grey colours, very much the sort of the colours of normal or like traditional kind of denim. But the next 3 fabrics I've got are all a little bit different. So this first one is a range that comes in some fabulous colours. So it's, I guess, a little bit different, a little bit maybe more modern, I guess, for chambray. In years gone by, you would only get it in blue, but now we've got, these fabulous colours we can work with as well. So, just find the tag on this one. Where have we gone? There we are. So this one is called our Minerva core range, yarn dyed cotton chambray. So let's unpick that. So Minerva core range often means, you know, it's a range that we can get in lots of colours, and it's something that we stock all year round. And this one comes in about 10 or 11 different colourways. The one I've chosen here is the fuchsia colour, really, really pretty pink. I think it's beautiful. And so the rest of that title, so it's 100% cotton, but it also says yarn dyed. Now what that means is, and this can often get sort of confused, I think, online, but what yarn dyed actually means in a fabric is that the yarn that is used to weave the fabric, it means that the yarn is dyed before the fabric is woven, rather than, you know, the fabric being woven and then it being dyed. And often it just gives the fabric a slightly different handle. It's considered very lovely quality when something is yarn dyed. And if, you know, it's not it's not true in the case of this fabric, with this being plain, but with the next one I've got to share with you, which is a stripy fabric, that is very much where yarn dyed comes in, and I will explain that when we come to the next fabric. So this one, like I say, it's 100% cotton. It's 144 centimetres or 56 inches wide approximately, and this one is 115 GSM. So again, that puts it in our light to medium weight category, slightly more towards the lighter weight end. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. You can see, you know, it's that lightness and softness with it being 100% cotton. It's so pretty, and you can see that again, you know, that coloured thread woven with the white thread gives it that almost speckly kind of woven characteristic. It's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I just love that this range comes in lots of, you know, bright kind of summery springtime kind of colours. We've got pinks, mints, blues, lemons, all those sort of colours. They're really, really pretty. So yeah, you've lots of choices with that one. And then what's really special is that range actually is like a mix and match range to go with this next one I'm about to show you. So it's from the same manufacturer. So, you know, it's the exact same dyes and fibres and everything that's been used. And this one is actually a pinstripe design, or a stripe design. So this one is called, again, our Minerva core range yarn dyed cotton chambray, and it's all the same. You know, so it's 100% cotton, 144 centimetres wide, etc. Just the same as the last fabric. But this one, and again, it might be a little bit difficult to see this on screen just because it is quite a thin stripe. But this one is actually woven with white and pink stripes. Now, the pink stripes still have the white thread woven in as well, but the white stripes are just purely white both ways. So it's really clever how it's woven to create this effect. And I just love the fact that the two, you know, they match each other perfectly. Obviously this one looks lighter because, you know, it's got lots of white in there, but the actual pink part matches perfectly. It's just gorgeous. And when I mentioned before about yarn dye and where it becomes very beneficial in a fabric is in a woven design like this. So because the yarn is dyed prior to the fabric being woven, what it means is that when the design is actually woven with the stripes, it means that the pattern, so the stripes, or it could be, you know, checks or something else, is actually woven into the fabric rather than being printed on. And basically what that guarantees is that that stripe is always going to be on grain, because if a stripe or a check is printed onto a fabric, no matter the quality of the fabric, or you know, it can be a very high quality fabric, but it's never going to be absolutely guaranteed to be 100% bang on grain. Whereas when something's woven into the fabric, it will be. So that's just where it comes in. And yeah, the fact that this is yarn dyed as well, it's just fabulous quality. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, you know, just like the plain matching fabric, this one comes in lots of colourways as well. And then the last fabric I've got to share with you today. So this is just one of many, many prints we've got on the site in Chambray, but it's a particular favourite of mine, so I picked this one out. And it's just to give you an example of you know, how chambray, you know, it's not always plain. It does come in lots of beautiful prints as well, like this one. And this one, so this has this classic, you know, indigo, denim-y kind of colour in the background of you know, the base of the chambray. And then this beautiful butterfly print on top that's got, you know, pinks and turquoises and lots of colours in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think that would make, you know, a beautiful, so like spring or summer, you know, blouse, top, dress, skirt, little children's clothing, you know, so many lovely things you can make with it. And yeah, I love that, you know, in, you know, there's lots of prints available now in chambray. It just really expands the choice and, you know, makes it an exciting range. So with this one, this is called our cotton chambray fabric, 100% cotton. It's 147 centimetres or 57 inches wide approximately, and it's 130 GSM, this one, which is still light to medium weight, just slightly more towards the medium category, this one. It's got a lovely weight to it, lovely softness with it being 100% cotton, and yeah, it's just a beautiful cloth, that one. So that's all the fabric samples I had to share with you. So I hope that gives you a really good sort of you know, indication and roundup of what we have available at Minerva and just what's available in chambray. So now let's take a look at some sewing patterns. So I've got a whole stack of patterns to share with you, which I think are all fabulous for chambray. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's great for casual, you know, summer kind of clothing, you know, tops, shirts, shorts, dresses, skirts, summery trousers, jumpsuits, all that sort of thing. But I've got some specific patterns here to share with you, just to give you, you know, some specific pattern ideas to take away that you know, you might want to sew in chambray. So let's get stuck in. So we'll insert some images as we go through so you can see them as I'm chatting about the patterns. So first up, let's have a look at some dresses. Excuse me. So the first one is Simplicity 8983, and this is, it's a really lovely, slightly oversized kind of dress that has a button-up like placket detail at the top, and a very simple collar. You've got different length options, so it's actually, you know, it can either be a top or a dress, can this one, or, well, it describes them as dresses, but it's like, it's a very, very short dress. I'd be wearing that as like a tunic kind of style top. And it has different sleeve options. So you've got a full length sleeve, a 3/4 length sleeve with like a little button turn up. You've got like a one that gathers in on elastic, and then one that has like a little frill at the edge, which is really pretty. And it has this sort of like inverted pleat at the front, and the same at the back from the yoke as well. That just kind of gives it some fullness. So it's almost like an A-line shape, but then with this extra fullness from the pleat, which I think will just make that really comfortable to wear. Just a nice everyday kind of casual day dress, that one. Next up, I've got a lovely shirt dress. So this is McCall's 8342. And I really love the sleeve, particularly on view B with this one. So from like the waist section, it's a little bit difficult to describe, so hopefully you'll see what I mean on the photos. But from the waist, you have this sort of piece that kind of comes out like this, that kind of goes over the shoulder. So it creates some sort of like structure and like quite a dramatic kind of effect. It's really, really lovely. And I particularly love view B because it's sleeveless, but you have that bit that sort of covers the shoulder. So it almost acts like a slight grown on sleeve, but not. And then view B and view C, you've also got, view A rather, you've got that same option, but with a sleeve included. And there's a short or a long sleeve with that. And then view C, you can actually make it without this extra panel. So, you know, if you just want more of a classic shirt dress, you've got that option in the pattern as well. It has a gathered skirt, which I think is really pretty. It's a full button up, you know, the full length of the dress. Classic kind of collar details as you'd expect. Really, really fabulous pattern. And I do think, you know, if you made that in perhaps the stripe chambray, you know, you could really play with like the stripe placement on that bodice piece, and then, you know, positioning it down the length of the shirt, the sleeve rather, and then the skirt perhaps being in a different direction. I think you can have lots of fun, or, you know, play it safe and a bit more simple with just a plain chambray, or, you know, like the butterfly print one as well. So next up, well, it's a dress pattern, but you've also got a blouse option in it as well. So this is the Liesl & Co gelato blouse and dress, and it's quite, well, you've got a very simple view, or one with added frills. And so with both the dress and the blouse, you've got a very wide neck, like round neckline. It's very, yeah, it's just a little bit different. I think it gives, you know, brings the sort of elegance to the pattern. Then the actual cut of the dress, it's slightly A-line and it's slightly oversized. So it's another one of those very casual daytime dresses that you could just wear, you know, all the time. You've got pockets in the dress. And apart from that, it's actually very, very simple. Yeah, it's rating it as like an easy to intermediate pattern. It's basically just a pull-on blouse or dress, you know, so it's very, very easy without the kind of fastenings. And then the other view, the one that's got the ruffles, that's just, you know, a little bit more advanced. So you've got a ruffle along the edge of a 3/4 length sleeve on that one, and then a ruffle around the bottom, and you've actually got a button-up fastening up the back. So you can really kind of choose the features that you want in this pattern, you know, choose whether you want ruffles or not, choose if you want that back button fastening or just keep it simple, and then choose the sleeve, you know, 3/4 length or short length, you know, just a short sleeve. Yeah, loads of options in that pattern, it's lovely. Next up, so we've got the Merchant & Mills dress shirt. So this is another quite a more casual kind of dress shirt. Again, a little bit oversized, and it says on the pattern it's a versatile dress inspired by Grandpa's shirt, which I think is it's a really good way of describing it actually. So it's a relaxed classic cut to be worn loose, and it's absurdly comfortable, and it includes a rolled up sleeve or a short sleeve, which is a nice little option. Yeah, and I do think actually lots of Merchant & Mill patterns do suit chambray. You know, they suit chambrays, linens, all that types of thing. Fabrics that are you know, have a little bit of structure, natural fibres. But yeah, I thought that was a really lovely example from their range. Then I've got something a little bit different with McCall's 8213, and this is just a very, very summery dress. I think a very nice, easy, simple one to wear. I think you know, we're coming into the summer months now here in the UK, and I think I've got that in my head with these sort of fabrics. But like we say in the fabric guide, you know, it really does suit itself to making summery garments as well. So this pattern is McCall's 8213, and it has a band just across the top of the bust. It has quite wide straps, which will be great, I think, to cover a bra. And you can choose to have little bow ties at the top of those, which is really sweet as well. And then at the back of that band, it's actually elasticated, so that will make it nice and easy to achieve a lovely fit. And then apart from that, the dress itself is like a simple kind of A-line shape. There's a little bit of gathering at the front into that band, and because of the elastic at the back, you know, that kind of gathers it in as well. And then you've got 3 different options. So you've just got a very straight dress, you know, very simple, or you've got one with an extra kind of gathered tier at the bottom, or you've got one with 2 tiers. So you know, you can choose your length with that and kind of choose, you know, the simplicity of it. You know, do you want to add the extra tiers, or do you just want to keep it really, really simple? So yeah, I think that's a really lovely summer dress, that one. And then the last dress, or the last women's dress I've got, is the assembly line cuff dress. Now this is a really popular pattern here at Minerva. It's a lovely, very simple round kind of neckline. It has 2 seams down the front and down the back of the bodice. It has grown on sleeves, a simple kind of like an A-line skirt, And then really the main features on this are the elastic waist that kind of draws it in and gives a bit of a waist, and the elastic kind of cuffs around the edge of the sleeves. So they're really the main two details on it. And other than that, it is quite simple. But yeah, I think people love the simplicity of this style. I think that cuff detail with, you know, the elastic drawn in, it's a very simple detail, but it's very effective. And yeah, I think it will be lovely in a chambray for summer. Yeah, a nice easy one to sew, that one. So last of all in the dress category, I've got a couple of children's dress patterns. So first of all, we've got the Liberty Patterns Mabel tiered dress. And this is a really, really sweet little dress. It's got a gathered skirt that you can add the option of tiers at the bottom if you want. It's got a zip fastening up the back, simple round little neck, and then you've got lots of different sleeve options or sleeveless. And you've also got a little sun hat in this as well. And I'm pretty sure Jo has done a sew along for both the dress and the hat on Minerva. So, you know, if you go to the pattern product page on Minerva and just scroll down, you'll be able to see Jo's videos on these where she guides you through on how to sew them from start to finish. So yeah, that's just kind of extra free support there on that pattern. And then the other one is an even simpler dress. This is from Simplicity, number 9318. And oh my goodness, this is so cute. So this is a simple round neckline, slightly more than an A-line. It's quite quite a full kind of dress. And it has, over the shoulders, it has these like little tabs that fasten with a button. And really, apart from that, you know, you've different length options, you've pocket options, they've even included like little applique ideas. But apart from that, you know, that's the simplicity of the dress. Really, really lovely. And then you've also got an elastic waist short included as well, which is really cute. Yeah, I think that's just so sweet. And if you are new to sewing, I think that's definitely going to be a really good option. Yeah, sorry, actually, when I'm looking on the back of the pattern, yes, some of those. So you've got the dresses, but you've also got a shorter version that is classed as more of a top. So you could wear that with the shorts together, but they've still got that sort of like tent-like shape, if you will. Yeah, really, really lovely. So next up, let's have a look at some like tops, shirts, blouses, that sort of thing. So we have, first of all, we have the Butterick 6841 pattern, and this is designed by Palmer and Pletch, which includes the tissue fitting method, which is really fantastic to have a go at if you've never done that before, to, you know, help achieve a great fit. And this really is a very classic shirt pattern. It's a unisex pattern, so yeah, you've lots of options with it to sew it for lots of people. And so you have 4 different views in the pattern. They all have like a traditional, you know, shirt collar, button up down the front. You've got different patch pocket options, short sleeves, long sleeves. Yeah, fantastic. And it's, you know, it's designed as a slightly more relaxed, oversized kind of fit, as you can see from the envelope. You know, it's a type that you can wear casually unbuttoned, or, you know, buttoned up as a shirt. Really, really lovely design, that one. Very, if you're looking for a classic shirt pattern, I think that's a great one. Next up, so we have the, so this is another Liesl & Co pattern, and this one is the Fitzroy blouse. So this, you know, I describe it between a shirt and a blouse really, especially made in a more structured fabric like chambray. So it has this fabulous neckline. I think that's really, well, the neckline and the sleeves are what this pattern are all about really. So it doesn't have your kind of traditional shirt type collar, which I guess is really what puts it more into the blouse category. But yeah, it's quite a high neck kind of V neckline, how it sort of wraps into that button fastening down the front. And then you've got a typical shirt type kind of sleeve, you know, with the cuffs. Or you've got this fabulous option that has stitched sort of pin tuck lines almost, if you will, that brings the sleeve in around your wrist, and then it gives this little frill around the edge. Really, really clever detail. I love details like that just, you know, do something a little bit unexpected, and it's just, yeah, a lovely detail that's very pretty, but it's actually very functional as well. So yeah, I think that's a really lovely pattern. And then the next top I've got is Simplicity 3004. So this is one of the easy to sew rated patterns, which I think is great. But yeah, I love this style. It's a cinched in waist, V-neck, wrap over type top. That has this elastic, quite wide elastic really around the waist. It really creates a feature of drawing it in. And then from there down, it kind of almost gives it then a little peplum kind of feel, you know, with all the gathers of the fabric. And then you've 3 different sleeve options. So you've got sleeveless, which would be lovely and cool and, you know, lovely to wear in the summer months. You've got a shorter floaty length sleeve, which I think is my favourite. And then, well, I don't know that, actually I love the long sleeve one as well. So you've also got these long sleeves that are quite full, and then they come into a cuff at the bottom, which is a really deep cuff. It's a fabulous little detail, and it's got, you know, like, I think it's like 4 buttons up the cuff, so it's, you know, it shows you the depth of that cuff. Really, really fabulous kind of designer detail on that one. And then the next 2 patterns I've got are actually great, I think, to create a cord set together. So it's the Albi woven shirt and the Albi pants and short, both by Style Art Patterns. So we'll talk about the shirt first, so the Albi woven shirt. So this is a very relaxed, casual, very on trend, I think, shirt to wear as like a, you know, part of a cord, or, you know, just to wear with jeans. Very casual kind of look. So it's got a dropped armhole detail, which again I think that adds to that casual vibe. It's got an elbow length sleeve, and it has a wide hem facing. Button up the front, classic kind of collar detail. It has a back yoke and 2 little pleats into that yoke. Yeah, just very, very on trend kind of cord shirt, or, you know, just to make the shirt on its own even. And I think it would be fantastic in a chambray. And then the Albi pant and short pattern, that, you know, is sort of designed to go with it. And that's how, you know, to create a cord set. So this again is a relaxed, casual kind of trouser or short pattern. So you've got an elasticated waist, you've got optional inseam pockets, you've got patch pockets on the back, you've got a wide hem band, and then the same for the shorts, but obviously shorter. Yeah, really, really, I think quite nice and easy to sew. Trouser set, well, pant or short pattern, and again would just be lovely in the chambray. And then the last 2 patterns I've got, so I've got McCall's 7330, and this is a really, really smart play suit or jumpsuit kind of set, or almost like a boiler suit really. Got lots of different options in the pattern. So they all feature a button-up detail down to the waist, with, well, you have different style collar options, just a simple, almost like a grandad style collar, or, you know, a normal sort of collar. You've got sleeveless, short sleeve, or 3/4 length sleeve options with a turn up, like button fastening on those. And then you've got different length options, so you can choose to make it more of as a play suit with little shorts, or the full length trousers, which, you know, are shown sort of turned up on the model that's wearing them. And I think the fabric that the model's actually wearing there, it very much looks like a chambray to me. So yeah, I think any of those options in the pattern would be fantastic in chambray. And then I also wanted to include a skirt pattern as well, because chambray is lovely for skirts, and in the spirit of, you know, it being a nice easy sew, perfect for fabric to sew, perfect for beginners, I thought I'd choose the New Look 6053, which is rated as an easy pattern that can be made in 2 hours. I mean, if you're brand new to sewing, maybe not 2 hours, but it will be a nice and easy skirt to sew. So you've got darts in the front and back of this pattern, a side zip fastening. You've got more of almost like a pencil shape or a straight shape skirt in 2 different lengths, and the longer one has a little split at the side. And then you've also got a fuller, almost a little bit more than an A-line skirt that comes in 3 lengths as well. So yeah, lots of different options in there for a nice easy skirt pattern to sew. So that's everything I wanted to share with you in today's video. I hope that's really inspired you to, to have a go sewing with Chambray. Certainly if you've never sewn with it before, it really is a wonderful fabric to sew with. And yeah, I think especially if you're someone that falls into the category that you love sewing plain fabrics, solid fabrics, but you just want something a little bit more special, a little bit different, then the Chambray weave is a really, really lovely one. But also, like I say, if you love prints, there's lots of prints on Chambray as well to sew with as well. So just to mention, here at Minerva, so we do offer super fast, free, worldwide delivery. So wherever you're watching us from, we can send parcels of fabric joy out to you. All of our fabrics are available in increments, so you don't just need to buy, either a full metre or a full yard. You can buy just what you need at Minerva, so there's no wastage. We do offer a sample service on all of our fabrics as well. So if there's any that you want to, you just want to see the fabric in real life, maybe assess the colour, the weight, or anything, and then you can just order you can just order a sample from us. And like I said, we do offer super fast, free, worldwide delivery as well. If you're a member of our craft club, then you can save 10% off everything that I've mentioned today. So all the fabrics, the fabric guide itself, all the patterns, everything on the Minerva website. And if you're not a member of our craft club, we will put a link to that below. So if you're interested, you can check that out. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to mention. Like I said at the beginning of the video, don't forget to check out Jo's video that's coming to the channel later today. And she's going to be looking at Chambray from a how to sew point of view, lots of tips and techniques, and just lots of community inspiration as well. So there'll be lots more inspiration in Jo's video for you as well today. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to mention. Everything I have talked about in this video, the patterns, the fabric and the guide, you will be able to find tagged below this video. So if you head to Minerva, all the products are tagged below the video on our website, so you can easily find everything I've mentioned. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again soon with our next video talking about the next base cloth in the Minerva fabric guide.